What's up everybody, I'm Jesse Showalter. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm a designer and a front-end developer, and I've been doing that for about 10 years or so. I get tons of emails and questions and comments all about how I got started in design, wondering how that whole path got started and what things they need to do to get started as young designers. So this is an introduction to a 5-part series about how to get started in design. In this episode, I want to talk a little bit about my backstory and how I got started and share with you some of that kind of knowledge and that story. And then in the following videos, I want to talk about what you need to learn, what kind of projects you need to do, how you need to get started, what kind of clients, how about your portfolio. I want to talk about all of those in the subsequent videos, and I hope you guys will stick around and watch the whole series. I hope you guys enjoy it. But for now, let's get started. So I literally found my first portfolio the other day, and it was the first portfolio I ever submitted to get my first in-house paying job as a designer. And I threw the portfolio away the other day in the dumpster, and I wish I wouldn't have done that, but I did take some pictures. So I had this, here's like some pictures of my very first portfolio. You can see I laid it down on the concrete. There it is, looking all ghetto. So I was working in kitchens, I was washing dishes, I was doing all sorts of odd jobs, side jobs. I was playing a lot of music at the time because I'm a musician. So for me, it was like creativity was my hobby. It was my passion and my thing I wanted to do, and that was in the vein of music. And you know, work was like something that I hated. It's something that I had to do to pay the bills. So at about 23, I met my wife. Amy, and she had gone to art school. She's a tattoo artist, she's a photographer, she had done movie makeup and had all these experiences being a creative person and just so creative. Actually, she made me fall in love with her by drawing a sketch of me. So romantic. She's a person who says you can do anything. She's a person who says, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. There's no excuses. You just got to do it. And so I told her I wanted to. That sounded really, really good. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And she started helping me. Anything she could do. She literally tried to show me how to paint. I didn't like painting. She tried to, I told her I had this interest in sculpting. She went out and bought me all this sculpting stuff. I was horrendous at sculpting and I gave up really, really quickly. So that was the thing. And then I told her hey, you know, I see all these people making band flyers and I would like to do that. That's something that kind of mixes with what I'm already doing. I'm interested. I like that. And I don't think I'm very good at drawing or painting. So I really do like computers a lot ever since I was a kid. So that's something I'd be interested in. So she gave me her bootleg copy of Photoshop 7, old school, right? And I loaded that up onto my old school MacBook. You know, remember the white one? Oh, it was so good. And she started showing me anything and everything that she knew about Photoshop. And that was it. It was Photoshop. So from that, I started making band flyers. I started making posters. I started making garbage, business cards. And that's where it started for me. It was making these horrendous things with so much texture and drop shadow and edgy kind of text and typography, and they worked. We would hand out these band flyers. I was making stickers for bands, and really that's where I got started, was making stuff for bands, t-shirts and merch and all kinds of stuff like that. I did that for a long time, for a year probably, just making stuff, fumbling around, a year and a half. My wife and I got married, and I really felt this right around the time where we got married. I was then ready. After about a year of doing this, I was really ready to go to school. So I went to the University of Hawaii in Manoa here, and I started taking general education classes with a focus on art. And so I took a lot of art classes. I took classes about color and design and photography. I said, you know what, it's my time to start going and learning these things. And those classes in the end were really, really helpful. They just stirred up a lot of creativity in me that I didn't know it was there, and I didn't know that I enjoyed, right? So I love cameras, I love design, I loved, prototyping and making things. All of that stuff came from going to school. So I really, really liked that kind of portion. My wife and I started having kids, and so school like that became hard for me to do. So I transitioned out of that from school, and I got my first job. I got my first job by submitting that portfolio we talked about to a tour company here in Hawaii, and I spent a year and a half working for that tour company, making a lot of stuff that was not so great. During that time, I started making my very first websites. Before that, I had made some MySpace layouts. What up, MySpace layouts? And after that, those MySpace layouts, and I got my first job at the tour company, they asked me if I knew how to make websites, and I went, yeah, totally I know how to make websites. Totally did not know how to make websites. But they let me learn. They had somebody there who kind of taught me, and I was using like Dreamweaver and like just building things in tables. Everything was really, really ugly and atrocious. Again, lots of textures, lots of papyrus, everything Hawaiian style. Woo, it was super gnarly. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about HTML and CSS. I learned a lot about JavaScript. I learned a lot about the web, and I really fell in love with that. So from there, I learned that I didn't want to do traditional print design or package design or logo design. I really wanted to focus on the digital aspect of design, like web and the mobile web and applications and software. So I really, really like that part. So I was there about a year and a half. I left that company and I worked freelance for a few years. When I worked freelance for a few years, it was awesome. I got to spend more time at home with my kids. My wife was working and I was spending more time with the babies, and I was working freelance. She was working. It was really, really good. I learned a lot about client relationships and how to manage a project. And that happened through a lot of like bad client interaction because I just didn't know what I was doing. I was handing websites off to clients with no CMS, and they were asking me how to fix it, and I was telling them to go buy Dreamweaver because I didn't know anything else. I was trying to learn like more about how to make people feel comfortable and to show my work to clients and to lead them and not just present them some horrible ta-da moment that they were like, we didn't ask for this. How to include them in the project. So I learned a lot about projects and their lifespan and how to work with clients during that time. After I got done doing that, I actually then got a job at a design agency here in downtown Honolulu, and I was working for a marketing and design firm. And so I was doing lots of really great projects, and my focus was websites and mainly like digital stuff. So it was like right up my alley. It was everything I wanted to be doing. I did some software, I did some websites, I did lots of stuff like that. Really, really good time for me. It was a very interesting time of my life, but I got lots of knowledge from there. I want to cover something really quickly. I want to backtrack. Throughout this whole time, because I had, at that point, I hadn't finished school. I had just done some classes on art and some classes on design, and then just self-taught everything else. I was still self-teaching the whole time. So I was lynda.com and Code School and tutorials and YouTube and blogs. I was doing so much of that stuff to learn my craft, like countless hours learning how to use the software itself, but then also learning about design theory, reading books, trying as hard as I can to understand and grok all this information and then apply it to what it was that I was making. So again, hired for lots of jobs without graduating school and with a horrible portfolio. It's like, so making projects for people. The project that actually landed me the job at the design agency, which was like a step up from the tour company, was a freelance project that I had done for like a natural woods, like wood sunglass company that never ever made it off the ground. So it was basically a concept project that I had in my portfolio on my website. And that was actually the key project. They said it was that project that really landed you the job. So, everything kind of like parlayed into something else. And so it got me the job at the design agency, which I was at for like a few years, 2 years or so. And then I took a break. I took a break from designing full time, and I did it in my spare time. And I did full time, ministry at my church for like 3 years, which was really awesome. And after I was done doing that, which is a huge passion of mine, is to spend time with junior high and high school kids and minister to them. So I got done with that after 3 years, which was amazing. And I decided to go back into design full time. And the whole time I was doing stuff on the side. I had like a part-time agency that I was doing with a friend. We were doing freelance and side work, like a boutique web agency. And then, kind of moved from that into the startup community here. And I've been working at my startup, the startup that I'm at now, for almost coming on 2 years now. And so that's been my journey, and the whole step of the way I was self-taught. While I was at the design agency, I actually decided to go back to school. I went online. I won't name the college because I didn't really enjoy it so much, but I pursued my degree in web design and development, a bachelor's in web design and development. So that was really, really interesting, my time doing that. But that was hard. That was a super huge hustle because I was married, I had kids. I was going to work during the day, and I was doing full-time school online at night. I was sleeping 4 hours a night, and that's just what I did for years. And in the end, there was nothing, honestly, that I learned at that college that I didn't already know through my experience and my time. I'm sure it would have been really great for somebody just coming out of left field and just wanted to learn everything in that short amount of time at the school. But for me, it was just reiterating what I had already kind of learned and knew, solidifying some of those things and those experiences and that knowledge. So that is how I got from where I started to today. It started from a bootleg copy of Photoshop to me being able to work full time and support my family, working at a startup, loving what I do, and that's it, man. So this entire introduction is purely to just hopefully be a bit of encouragement to those of you that feel like you're either behind the 8 ball, been there, done that, didn't start school or finding my passion till I was 24 years old. For a long time, I felt like I was behind, everybody else had this huge lead, and I needed to catch up. Also, number 2, for those of you that feel like you haven't gone to school, or maybe you don't have the opportunity to go to school or design school or art school like somebody else has, that shouldn't stop you. It didn't stop me, and it shouldn't stop you. So I hope that it would be an encouragement to send you guys off onto this path, even if you don't have the ability to go to school like some other people do. Also, I was older and I had a wife and a new baby. And so situationally, it seemed like, man, that was really, really maybe not very, very possible or very good opportunity. But for me, I was able to do it. And I really hope it's an encouragement that no matter what situation you're in, if you put in the work, if you put in the grind and the hustle and know that that's what it takes, right? If you're in that situation, that you can get there, you can accomplish, you can do on limited amounts of sleep and lots of hard work and determination, you can get a lot done, right? And lastly, I just hope that you see throughout all of this that, career isn't everything. I got the opportunity to work freelance, and I got to spend way more time with my kids. Or I took off 3 years to go spend time pursuing another passion in ministry, and I was able to do that, and my career was not the thing I was worried about. I was worried about, following that passion that the Lord had given me. And you can do that. And so don't get stuck in this career mentality. I love Gary Vee. I love the idea of grinding and hustling and working hard, but don't let that distract you from what's actually important. Because at the end of your life, money and a successful career isn't what's important, right? That's my story. That doesn't have to be your story, but I just want to share that with you and hope that would be some kind of encouragement. In the following videos, we're going to get way more specific about the things that you should maybe do to get on your road to becoming a designer. So hope that was helpful. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, maybe think about liking and subscribing to the channel. If you didn't, I'm so sorry. Leave down in the comments what you didn't like about the video, and I will read those and get back to you as soon as I can. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I'll see you in the next one in part 1, because this is technically part 0, introduction, right? It's the prologue. I'll see you guys in part 1 when we talk about learning. See you then.